What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to G-Ball Vision. Today I have for you guys the second matchup in our March Madness Knife Edition. The Civivi Sokoke and the Corgi are going head-to-head. Before we get started, guys, double check and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I would love to have you here. And before you head out, hit that thumbs up button. I greatly appreciate it, guys. It really helps the videos get pushed out there to more people. And an extra amount of work went into these videos. So the last matchup, which was our first matchup, the Task took on the Sacra, the Kaiser Task, real steel Sacra, and the Sacra ended up coming out on top as the victor. Now we have the Sokoke and the Corgi going head-to-head. Those numbers, guys, really weren't technically like the seating that I thought. It was just so I could keep everything organized. I infilled all the knives within the numbers, and I just put knives in that I thought would compete very well. So we do have 11 categories like usual, from materials all the way down to the better EDC and work knife. 1 point per category. There can be ties, and if at the end of this somehow there is a tie, I will break that tie, and then you guys can also vote, and I will take those votes into account. If it goes with my vote, you know, the majority, then we'll stick with it. If the majority say that I'm dead ass wrong, then we will switch the winner into that other column. The loser is out, and the winner will take on either the cryo or the petrified fish victor. So let's get this thing underway here, guys. We're going to kick it off with materials. We're using our brass refined pen, which is freaking amazing, guys. Love this pen. So we'll kick it off with the Corgi here, and we're talking about materials. We have a black washed drop point blade here coming in 14C 28N steel. We also have cross cut micarta for the handle material. We have a micarta backspacer, and we have a lower mounted deep carry clip that will be reversible, and this has a filler tab. On the other hand, we have the Sokoke. And like I said, guys, I didn't plan any of these matches out at all. I literally just tried to spread the companies out throughout the matchups and the knives throughout the matchups just to try to break things up so we didn't have 3 Civivis in one column. You know, I tried to break everything up. And the Sacra and the Task ended up being an extremely good matchup. And this one is looking like it's going to be as well. We have a PVD black washed drop point blade, and this is also coming in 14C 28N steel. In this case, we have some micarta handles, blacked out hardware. We have a deep carry clip that will be reversible. So right off the get-go, guys, based on materials, this is going to be a tie. Because they are exactly the same. So it will be a 1-1 going into the price category. So we have $59 for the Corgi, and we have $65. These are the lowest prices I could find these guys. $59 for the Corgi, $65 for the Sokoke. Based on that, guys, the $6 difference, I'm going to give it to the Corgi. It's $6 cheaper. That means that wins. They're the same exact materials, and one is $6 cheaper than the other. Got to give the nod to the Corgi here, guys. So next up is going to be the value. This is going to be very hard to judge. These knives are both heavily available, and this will be hard to judge throughout the rest of the tournament because, you know, value is kind of what's it worth afterwards. But in this case, we're going to take value as in what's the price, what's the materials, and what's the better deal. That's how we're going to roll with value for the tournament. And in this case, it's going to have to go to the Corgi yet again because the value is that this is still $6 cheaper than the Sokoke, and they are the exact same materials. So we're going to give the slight edge to the Corgi. Now, here we're getting into some of the functional aspects, and we're going to be talking about cutting. And if you are wondering, I did give more information in the first round matchup, but there is a $100 cap limit. So none of these knives, when I checked, were over $100, and any knife that is in the tournament was not at or over $100 when I checked. So that is another tidbit of info that I don't think I relayed yet in this one. But we are going to run this until it is over. I'm going to do these as often as I can. It's probably going to be every other day or every like 2 to 3 days that I can release these. Not only do I have, you know, all my other stuff I need to do, but it's going to be very time consuming to get all of this done. It will run from March into April, and that is pretty much how the college basketball tournament works as well. We're going to use the same media here to cut for both knives, and it really seems like they are both kind of on par with one another. We're going to do a second test here against some cardboard just to see if one does a little better. I would say they tied on that. And this one is slicing very easily against that grain of that cardboard. Let's see about the Sokoke here. We'll run this guy from the full length here. And wow, they both have a very, very good edge on them. I am going to give them both a tie as far as the cutting goes. They are both slicing very, very well. So with that being done and said, we have a 4-2 lead going to the Corgi. Now, Ergonomics is going to be next up on the agenda, which means which one is more comfortable in hand to use. So the Corgi has a very neutral handle, very, very neutral. And this is very comfortable, guys. Believe it or not, you know, whether this is your, you know, cup of tea or not, this thing is very well done from tip to butt, and it is very comfortable because of that neutral handle and the way the pocket clip is, and it sits in my hand. This thing is very comfortable. Now, with that being said, the Sokoke, even though the handle is not as neutral, I have used this knife, by the way, and it's still holding its edge good. This is a little bit newer of a knife, and this I've had for quite a little while at this point. This is just a little bit more comfortable in my hand. We could even give this a tie as well because they are both extremely comfortable in hand. But the edge and nod is going to go to the Sokoke. I think this is just a little bit more comfortable, and we can't have, you know, a ton of ties either. This is going to be just a little bit more comfortable, in my opinion, in my hand. The micarta backspacer, I think, really helps aid in that. And then the way this is done, you get 2 fingers here, then you have that little hump, and then your other 2 fingers there. And this is just really comfortable. I think the little bit bigger handle also helps the Sokoke. It's not by much, but it is just a touch bigger. And it's a little different lines. So we're going to give the nod on the ergonomics department to the Sokoke here. So we're looking at a 4-3 lead going into the carry. So all these are very subjective, or for the most part, all these are going to be very subjective. This is really going to depend on what you prefer and what your intended use is for the knife. Some people would prefer a lower mounted clip. Some prefer a deep carry clip. Me, I personally prefer both of them. It just depends on the situation at hand. the better carry is probably going to go, I'm going to go with the Corgi because it is a thinner profile. I think they might be a little bit, I think it might be a touch thicker. They're about the same exact size there. Now, someone did say, hey, can you do the weight for the carry? I want to try to get these well below 20 minutes, guys, because it takes a while to get through all this and talk this all out. So we got 3.5 on the Sokoke. It is a bigger boy. And we got 3.3 on the Corgi. So it's not, so they're about identical in their weight. Very close anyway. But with that being said, the Corgi is just a little bit thinner as far as its profile. It's more streamlined. So, in other words, the Corgi is going to carry a lot easier and a lot better in the pocket than the Sokoke may. It's just got a thinner and more, a little bit better profile when it comes to us saying which one's going to carry better. It's a little lighter. It's also a little more streamlined. So I'm going to give the nod to the Corgi here. So we have a 5-3 lead going to the Corgi, and going into aesthetics. You know, and that's going to be another category. It's in the eyes of the beholder. I'm going to give the nod for aesthetics. Just, you know, the Corgi's a great knife, and I like how they tried to keep everything perfectly symmetrical. I don't know if that was their intention or not, but the front and rear flipper, the button, the pivot, everything is symmetrical and kind of in line with one another. But the Sokoke is going to be more my normal run-of-the-mill aesthetic. This is typically, you know, what I would go for if I'm looking at a knife and a design. This is pretty much what I would go for. I could really knock this thing out for one specific reason, guys, and that's because Civivi refuses to put a damn filler tab on the show side. I'm glad they toll it for lefties, but you're going to charge us $6 more, not put a filler tab when Vosteed charges $6 less and puts a filler tab in there. I don't get it. You are not completing the knife, in my opinion. I see it so much from Civivi. It'd be different if it was surface mounted, then, you know, that is what it is. But because it's recessed, like the Corgi, you have to have a filler tab there to complete that look. Why not put a black aluminum filler tab in there, or a black steel tab? Whatever. Put something in there. It just really, you know, it really destroys it for me in that sense if we're getting very critical. But I am going to give the nod to the Sokoke in this category because that is typically what I would go for. Next up is going to be the action department. And these are both very, very good, guys. The Sokoke has a very nice detent. It's got the Ray Laconico front flipper, and it works extremely well. For the open, the close, it'll drop to your nail and it will just go all the way home with a shake or two. It's kind of unfair in the action department because this is a flipper button lock, and this is going to, you know, be very action approved, especially if you got good strong springs in there. And in this case, the way the front or the top flipper is so high above the pivot, and with the springs being nice and stout, this has a great opening action, and it just drops closed, drops home. There's no drag on that button. As soon as you push it, it's falling, and if you time it just right, it will close and lock in very nicely. I think I'm going to have to give the action, guys. I know it might not be completely fair, And like I said, it's not something the Sacra and the Task both being crossbars, that kind of just happened. We're going to have to just take it as what it is. And I'm going to have to give the action to the Corgi by well, damn, I don't know, because this is so good. Should I do a tie here? Because this has a nice, it's not that fall shutty, loosey-goosey crap. It is, it drops, and then a shake, and it goes home. It's clean, it's smooth. We're going to go with a tie. We'll go with a tie to be fair to both of these. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we got a 6-5 going into sounds. The Corgi has here. Open, closed. Open, closed. Open, closed. Open, closed. Sokoke, open, close. Open, close. Open, close. Boy, the Sokoke really thwacks out of there and has a nice positive click in. But the Corgi has a nice little, it's not a ting, but kind of is. Sounds. Because this thwacks and closes so good, I'm going to give it to the Sokoke here, guys. Which one is going to be the better fidget knife here? You have dual deployments with both front and rear flipper, dual thumb studs, and a front flipper. One is a button lock, one is a liner lock. Just because one is a liner lock does not mean that it cannot be fidgety, because this definitely can be fidgety if tuned right and everything is done properly. A liner lock can be very fidgety, in my opinion. Now, a button lock is technically going to be more fidgety because you can just, you can actuate it, push a button, and you don't have to do anything. You don't have to barely move your hand at all. You can be right there on that button. Fidget, the better fidget knife. Man, that sounds good. Man, this is tough. I'm thinking about giving them a tie because I'm not going to hold this being a liner lock against itself. You know what I mean? Because this is a very fidgety liner lock. And I took this apart and tightened the pivot down. It actually would even drop a little better, but I have it tightened down a decent amount just so it kind of wears and breaks in that pivot. I'm going to give it a tie, guys. So we got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Going into the final category, which is going to be what's the better work in EDC knife. And the better work knife is going to be the Sokoke because it is a liner lock. a button lock, a plunge lock is not going to be the most trustworthy thing, even though they are getting better, and this one is actually solid as far as testing goes. We're going to have to give the edge to the Sokoke as far as the better work knife. As far as the better EDC knife, you know, that is going, you know, they're both going to be phenomenal EDC knives, you know, just day-to-day users, light-duty use. I'll have to give the nod to the Sokoke, and that is going to mean we're going to end up with a tie here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, no, we ain't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, wow. Okay. So it's going to be the Sokoke. 8 to 7 here, guys. And that is the ball game there. The Sokoke literally edges out the Corgi by just a hair on its chinny chin, baby. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you disagree. I love hearing from you guys. I am going to write the Sokoke in as the winner here, and it will face off on the Concept Cryo or the Petrified Fish Victor. If you disagree and we have an overwhelming majority that disagrees and thinks the Corgi should have won, we will change it. The overwhelming majority agreed that the Sacra beat out the Task. We had a few people that said the Task should have won, and then we had a few people say it was closer than I called it, but the Sacra still won, and I agree with those people. I should have gave 1, maybe 2 columns a tie, but at the end of the day, the Sacra still took that matchup. So next matchup, guys, is going to be the Miguron Valona against the QSP Penguin. After that, we have the Kubey Bluff going up against the Remet Rhino Button Lock. So we got a couple of great matchups coming up. Congratulations to the Sokoke there. That was an awesome battle, and the Sokoke just pulls it off, guys. Great matchup. Hit the thumbs up for me. Greatly appreciate it, guys. A lot of work went into these videos and all this stuff. Shout out to Mikey Reese for coming up with the idea and sending it along to me. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you are new here. We got lots more matchups coming up. Daily content, twice a day. Love you guys. Let me know what you think down below. Who won? Do you like this idea? Should we keep rolling with it? We're going to keep rolling with it, but I still want to hear what you have to say. Otherwise, guys, I will catch you on the next one.